Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. And on this week's show, we discuss Connie's new deal to keep him at the club, and we look ahead to this week's trip to our rivals. Not really, are they? Warrington?
Yeah. The trip that I'm doing on foot.
It's going to be sunny, Kev. You can forget
Yes.
the scuba suit. It's sun cream weather, I believe.
Yeah, 27 degrees. I think it's currently forecast to be. So a nice 9 mile or so walk from the Totally Wicked to the Halliwell Jones. A couple of stops on the way, I believe, for water and if anybody needs to relieve themselves. Yeah, it should be good. It should be good. And at time of recording, we're up to £3,472 raised between everybody who's doing it. And there's 70 of us on the walk as well, setting out about 2:30. And if you go to redvee.net on Twitter, or Kev Pender on Twitter, or our Facebook pages, you'll be able to find the link if you'd like to donate for this fat lad to walk 9 miles to Warrington in aid of the St Helens Community Development Foundation and Mind St Helens.
You're getting good at this spiel, Kev.
I am, Anna.
You're good at asking people to give you money.
Yes. Doesn't always work.
Yeah, you probably might have to look at Facebook or the links below the YouTube page, because Elon Musk has probably rationed you on what you can see on Twitter. But tomorrow we will be wearing new threads. Whoever thought Mark Zuckerberg would be the man who saves the world?
Exactly. Twitter's got that bad that people have been pushed back to Facebook.
Yeah. So Threads launches tomorrow. Redvee.net will have its presence from day one. So we'll see you there, or we may not. But all the usual spots as normal. First up then, Kev. Big news of last week was Konrad Hurrell signing a new deal to keep him at the club for 2024, with the option in the club's favour for 2025. I knew them flags above the stadium weren't there all year. I knew there was a reason behind them. Connie has replied to us and said he didn't go up on the roof doing it himself because I think he's scared of heights.
Same. And I don't blame him whatsoever. I think the signing of Konnie, it split the crowd, didn't it, when he first came across, myself included. But he has repaid us. He's so good on the field going forward. He's so good off the field. He just brings that presence to the changing room. So him getting another year, potentially another 2 years, I think it's well deserved.
Do you know what, Kev? Every time I hear Konnie get interviewed, and he says, and he was aware of the noise that was surrounding him, coming to the club, and the naysayers and the doubters, I can't but think he keeps thinking in his head, I mean you, Kev.
Yes, probably so.
But it is fair to say that you give everyone a chance, and when you're wrong, you will admit you're wrong, as we all do here on Redvee. And listen, were you wrong at the time? You were only basing it on what you'd seen of him at the Rhinos, and it's fair to say that he's come to Saints and he's changed a lot of people's minds, to the point now where I don't think I've seen one voice who was unhappy to see them get re-signed.
Yeah, I suppose at the time you didn't really expect to see him play. You heard the rumours that he was fitting nicely under the salary cap, that he was taking that squad number 23, so he wasn't necessarily in the thoughts of a starting centre, but needs kind of must, with Will Hopewati missing a hell of a lot of last year, and it gave him that chance, and he took that chance. Pretty much first game he was off and running. There were still a couple of bits that I was a little bit sceptical about, especially defensively, but you're right, From what I'd seen at Leeds, it didn't look like it was a really inspired signing, but it's changed my perception, and I'm quite happy to have him at the club for another year or two, because I think he's vital. He does a lot of work for our forwards in taking the ball out and making them meters that you need just to give your Alex Walmsley's, Iggy Parzy's, Matty Lee's, people like that, give them a rest from having to do it. He's vital to how we play.
I think we've talked over the years, we're always raving about Tommy Makinson, the way he runs the ball back in. And that's probably because obviously he's a little bit slighter than Konrad. It's fair to say, and how important he is making those meters. I think Konrad's just as good, but maybe doesn't get the full credit he deserves because he runs like a forward and potentially looks like a forward at times. And having you both wingers making those, or centre, whatever he's playing, make those meters coming from the backs will be most appreciated by your forwards.
Yes, exactly. I wish I'd collated how many meters he'd made this year, because I know
that's your new thing, isn't it, being stats man?
It's not being stats man. We'll come to that in a bit anyway. It's not being stats man, but we'll come to that in a bit, and I'll show you how dangerous stats can be.
You can give us your famous quote as well.
Well, stats are like a bikini. Yeah, okay, I will do. As you say, the forwards will love the fact that he's taking the ball out like he does, like whoever Tommy Makinson, Mark Percival, whoever your other winger is, whether it be John Bennison, T. Ritson, Will Hopewati, taking the ball up to the line and giving them the rest. It's completely vital to how we play, so our forwards can do them longer stints, and we get to half an hour and we've still not seen one of our props coming off. He's an integral part to this team. I
think the thing that you don't always notice or is missed is he pretty much always makes yards after contact, and he's always dragging in an extra defender to come and get him to the floor, which then obviously off the back of that creates that little bit of space for the likes of James Roby to work and Johnny Lomax and Lewis Dodd to be able to try and find those gaps to put people through. I'm made up he's staying. I really rate him. Listen, there's nobody else in our squad who's going to give you a smile like Konrad does, parading around social media in a little pair of budgie smugglers.
Yeah, he's probably the closest thing we've had to a cult hero at the club for some time, isn't he?
Yeah. And when people talk about cult heroes, Konrad is on the cusp of being one. I don't know whether he's too good to be one. But he's got that humour and that connection with the crowd. I'm really glad that we can all forget the days where he was marching up and down in front of the South Stand, playing the trumpet of marching on together. I'm hoping he's forgot those words. But it's really good to have him in the town, around the club. And I like the fact that the second year is an option as well.
Yeah.
In the club's favour, because it means that Konrad has to keep working. Now, he had to work hard when he came into the club to prove his worth. And there's almost like he wants to stick around, and he will make sure that he does everything in his power to do so.
Which will mean that the fans are still on his side, which will mean that everybody gets on, and that second year then becomes a formality, and it's all good for Saints.
Right. There goes the Konrad loving.
Correct.
Next up, squad news.
Right, so only one change. Joe Batchelor had, complained of a tight hamstring before the Cast game. So he's obviously dropped out of the 21-man squad. Lewis Baxter has come in to replace him.
Assuming T. Ritson still isn't at full fitness, will the 17 be unchanged from last Friday night?
Yes. Good night, David.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It's not going to change, is it? I've seen, going back to the stats then, Kev, You posted the stats after the game, and John Bennison led the way in meters. And people were saying, well, that's why he should be first choice in the team. But stats aren't always as they suggest, are they?
Correct. Listen, John Bennison had a really good game. I will continue to stand by the fact that he's been unlucky to drop out of the team because he'd done nothing wrong in favour of T. Ritson. But you're right, stats need to come with some kind of picture to build them up. People love them, but there's no stats after contact. A lot of the kicks that John got targeted, I think, a little bit with the kicks long because of the first one that went over his head for the 40-20. He dealt with them, he had open space and he ran into them. But here's how stats are misleading. We have named 4 different starting wingers this season. Tommy Makinson, John Bennison, T. Ritson, and Will Hopewati. If you're just going off stats, I can give you a stat that Will Hopewati has made the most meters on average per game when playing on the wing. At 143.3 meters per game. So if we use that stat, Will Hopewati should be a starting winger.
I'm about to turn the squads off because you've spent time doing that today, haven't you?
I have spent time doing that today, yeah. 143.3 meters per game in the 3 games he's been named on the wing. So he beats Tommy at 121.7. And he blitzes T. Ritson 96.8 and John Bennison 90.7. And John Bennison and T. Ritson have both played 9 games plus 1 off the bench.
Could you make the argument then that the players with the highest average meters gained or achieved are the ones who are perceived to be the weaker winger by the opposition, so they target their long kicks down that side?
Or, yeah, possibly, but I think a lot of teams have targeted Tommy this season, so he can't get the roll off the back, so the other wingers have had to take the ball in first or second. But, yeah, it's how stats can be perceived. Another stat for you, missed tackles, because I've seen someone say that John Bennison is head and shoulders above T. Ritson, attack and defence. There's 3 missed tackles between them. So 13 for T and 10 for John Bennison. That's not a lot, really. Yeah, it's only over 10 games, but it's not a lot.
I think the thing you've got to take from this is, yes, look at stats, but look at what's in front of your own eyes. I've seen people this week saying T. Ritson hasn't shown his pace. If anybody's still got the recording of Hull's last try against us when we lost the ball from the scrub, Darnell McIntosh goes the length of the field. T, from standing on his heels on the other side, comes across the pitch and absolutely mows him down for pace. Doesn't make the tackle, but
nope. That'll be one of the missed ones that I've counted.
Yes. But pace-wise, listen, T. Ritson is the paciest player in our squad, bar none.
Yeah.
And for anybody to say he's not got pace, you're just
parroting lines that they've seen, easy lines that they've seen.
Yeah, because he's not coming into the team and scoring 6 tries a game like he was with Barrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just be realistic. The other thing I was looking about, and I think I discussed this with you regarding stats, even when you're looking at your forwards, say I'm going to pick 2 random players here, Alex Walmsley and Matty Lees. Matty Lees, for example, could make 5 meters more on average than Alex Walmsley. But that could be a simple case of the defensive line targets Alex Walmsley. Whenever he gets the ball, get the line in, move the line up as quick as you possibly can to restrict him to a couple of meters. Whereas they don't necessarily have that defensive aggression line of speed if it was Matty Lees coming towards him and they allow him to come into the line. I'm picking random things here, and listen, over time it may well balance out, but there can be reasons for things, and I think it's important just to look at what's in front of you and what you see with your own eyes rather than relying on the stats.
And you go with the forwards like that, and a stat that isn't given is how many kick chases do your prop forwards do? Within how many metres is your prop forward of the fullback or winger or centre who's taking that ball? So I bet Matty Lees is very, very high in that.
How many carries per game? You'd assume people with less carries have got more energy and to wind themselves up and charge into the line. There's a very different role that Alex Walmsley will play as your workhorse prop who's playing 50, 60 minutes than potentially Iggy Parsi who comes on and does 20 and barrels into the line as fast as he can and before blows it out.
Yeah. And this is why stats are like a bikini, David.
Yes, Kevin.
What they reveal is suggestive, but what they conceal is vital. And a lot of what they conceal is stuff that you will actually see if you're watching games. Don't just parrot boring lines. And listen, people might rate John Bennison higher than T. Ritson. And I think John Bennison is well deserving of a first team shirt. But don't be parroting lines that T. Ritson's not quick, because he is. He's the quickest in our team anyway.
Yeah. And you know what, Kev? If John Bennison stays in the team ahead of T. Ritson, and that's Wello's decision to make when they're both fully fit, I won't argue either way.
Yeah, same.
If it was up to me at this moment in time, I would pick T. Ritson over John Bennison. And that potentially is only because I think because T is quick, it gives that little bit of difference in the backs, which I think we lack across the back line without him.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think one thing that people also forget is this is T's first season in a full-time environment at this level. So you've got to give him time to bed in. It's not, as I said, when we signed him, like bringing Regan Grace through, who is a completely new type player. You can mould him, you can form him into the type of player you want. T. Ritson's coming in a lot older. You've got to give him time. I think anybody who was expecting an NRL class winger was misguided. But the lad can operate at a level good enough for Saints. He just needs that run of games, doesn't he?
Yeah. And you can probably argue the same for John as well.
Of course you can. Yeah. Well,
do you know what? You'd rather be in a position where you're arguing over which one should play rather than which one shouldn't.
Yes. Well, that's it. You have a look. I think T came back in against Hull KR away and stayed in the team until Hull and then had to drop out through injury. John's been a bit more dip in, dip out through the season. And players always get better as they have more time in the team. Look at Will Hopewati against Hull. He was part of that weak side. He goes onto the wing for us. And I think he had a great game. I think there was quite a bit of watching him take the ball in that I thought, you know what, he's having a good one here.
In fans' eyes, players get better when they're not playing.
Oh, correct. Yeah. The best players in the world are the ones who are sat in the stands.
With the best will in the world, Wes Bruins must be the second coming of Paul Newlove. The amount of people who are demanding to see him in the team week in, week out, and they've probably never really seen him play more than two academy games, if that, at a completely different standard. Listen, when he's good enough and he deserves his opportunity, I have no doubt that the way this club works is he will get it.
Yes.
And until then, just trust in the process that the 21-man squad that is being picked or the 17-man squad on a match night is the best available.
Yeah.
Apart from when we leave Joey Lussick out the 17.
Yeah, true. And start playing more nulls. Let's get away from that. Get away from talking about players in wrong positions. You'll start me off.
in case, well, if we're not talking about players in wrong positions, let's talk at players at wrong clubs. They've not put squad numbers on.
No.
It's lazy.
Well, it's the retro round this week. They're playing in the retro colours of primrose and blue. So, yeah. Anyway, the one change that I did notice is obviously Sam Cassiano's missed out. I believe
rightly so, for a blatant shoulder charge.
I think that Saints were considering appealing that ban, so he had to play. However, they didn't go through with that. And George Williams is in now. Daryl Powell says that he's got an outside chance of making it.
No chance. Do you know why he's got no chance, Kev?
Go on.
Because he spent the day at Wimbledon today. Did he? Watching the game on centre court as guest of IMG. Do you know what? I didn't even click that he was in the squad. So the fact that he's at Wimbledon tells you that he is not playing this week. And if he is, brilliant, because it means he's not been training either.
Well, if this was our squad and we'd put him in and we were in a bit of a slump at the minute, yeah, I'd want to beat Saints. So if we were doing Primrose and Blue TV or whatever, I'd want to beat Saints, but I'd also want me player to come back in when he's fit and ready, not be rushed back in, because there's still plenty of the season to go. And it doesn't matter if you finish top, second, or whatever. You can still win the playoffs by doing a Leeds.
Sorry, Kev, I'm going to have to show you this.
Okay.
So Warrington have actually put it on their own Twitter.
Oh, no, can't see that.
You can't see it, can you?
No.
Oh, right. I'll have to retweet it. Warrington have put it on their own Twitter, pinpointing them at Wimbledon. George Williams has been down at SW19 enjoying this iconic tennis event. And posted it, and he's getting interviewed, and he's in a suit, and he's on centre court. And a Warrington fan has replied, "Smashing rehab."
Listen, that Pims might sort him out. To be fair,
yeah. So I'm going to guess that he's not playing.
Well, you mentioned players in wrong positions. I've got a good mate of mine who's a Warrington fan, and he is sick of the amount of chopping and changing that Daryl Powell's doing. Now, some of it is suspension, some of it is injury as well. But I was looking into this as well. As you can tell, I've had a lot of time on my hands. And Warrington, over the past 5 games, have had 2 different fullbacks. They've had 4 different players named at standoff. All these, by the way, and all my stats from before are from Super League's official website. So we'll go with this. They've had 4 different players named at 6. They've had 3 different players named at 7. 2 different players named at hooker. And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 different players named at loose forward. If your spine is getting chopped and changed like that over and over, and there are some players like Clark's been named at 13 and at 9, Matauti has been named at 7 and 13. He's also been in the centres. If you're doing that, you can't, we speak about this all the time, you can't get your partnerships right. And I don't get why he's doing this. I also don't care, because if they end up dropping out the playoffs, then it's really funny. But why would you do that? Why would you keep chopping and changing? You've got to stick with something for a bit. Have a look at your best option, see what players you've got, and drop them in there and leave them. Yeah.
If we win on Friday night, we go above Warrington in the table with Catalan to come. It's all looking rosy all of a sudden in terms of for a top 2 finish at least.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad for us at all. Game in hand still obviously looming over us as well. But it doesn't look bad at all.
If with our game in hand, Kev, if we win our game in hand, now we'd already be second in the table.
Yeah.
The table looks far worse with us being 5th at the minute, purely because we have that game in hand.
Yeah, and it's easy to talk about winning that as well. because you don't know what team, when we're going to have to put it in, what team we're going to have. The fact that it will, if it's put midweek, then impact on games after it when we might be a little bit flat.
The bad news, Kev, is me and you being drafted in for that game as the wingers.
Yeah,
we're still going to make the most meters.
Yeah,
bringing that ball back.
Well,
probably won't be many yards after contact. So that's the bad news.
There probably won't be many yards before contact when I run out of breath after 5 meters.
Well, that's the bad news. The good news is we are playing Huddersfield in that game, so we're still going to win by 20.
Fair enough. Yeah, listen, I don't know what's going on at Warrington. My mate, he rings me every Monday night. He's always whinging about what's going on at Warrington, saying that they're not really playing for Powell. He reckons that they're going to finish 8th or 9th, which I think is a bit of an over-exaggeration of how bad they're going. But
is it?
He said, well,
three wins in 9?
Yeah, he says he doesn't know where the next win's coming from. But we all know how sport works, and it doesn't just usually follow a linear line. It usually does end up...
Just for Warrington.
Well, or Everton.
Warrington after us, Kev, have Wigan away.
Yeah.
Wakefield away.
Yeah.
Catalan at home. Leeds away. Hull away. Castleford at home. So the next win might be Castleford.
Yeah. Well, they'd be looking at least Wakefield as well. But
Wakefield banjo them.
Wakefield are picking up as well. Yeah, my mate is not happy. He says it beggars belief naming Williams, and why not name one of the young lads? But as we always say about 21-man squads, you're naming them because you have to.
Do you get paid for providing that therapy to him?
No, I should do though.
Or do you pay him for the comedy hour?
No. I just let him rant about Warrington and then just tell him how good it is being world champions and champions and everything.
I bet you act dead sympathetic, don't you? Oh, I really feel for you.
Yeah. Oh, if I was you, I really hope that this happens, and really I don't hope that any of it happens because it's Warrington.
Well, Darryl Clark only has to be in that Warrington squad against Saints twice more. And then he can come over and we can do like Men in Black, put the glasses on him, zap him, and get rid of all his bad memories.
Yes.
It is retro round, Kevin.
Yes.
Warrington are inviting fans to wear their best retro kits. I think Saints fans should probably do the same. Which championship winning kits would you choose from?
There's so many.
96.
Yeah.
2000. 2006. 2022. 2021. 2020. 2019.
Yeah, 2020 away could be a good one.
2010.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too many. I think it might have to be, for me, 2020 away. I think I might wear that one.
Well, Kevin, if you are on your long walk to the Halliwell Jones Stadium on Friday night and you cross the Warrington town boundary and you suddenly start seeing people rolling in mud, there is only one reason why. They're coming in the Warrington Championship winning kit.
I didn't know you were going to put that on here. And I forgot to send it you before because I downloaded it earlier.
Did you?
Yeah. I downloaded it and put it through a Colorize app as well to see if it come up. But obviously,
did it still come covered in mud?
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
The best one is the guy on the end next to the kid. Yeah. He can't believe they've won something either.
It just looks like he's just been dipped in it, doesn't he?
Can I just say how hard it was to find that photograph?
Yeah.
The great Albert Norton lifting the trophy aloft with his teammates. How he's not got a statue in Warrington, being the last winning captain, I don't know. But if they are struggling, Kev, I'm sure they could wear one from the South West Lancashire League victory, one from the South West Lancashire Cup, maybe. Television trophy. There is, of course, the Challenge Cup victory over us a couple of years back, which they'll live off forevermore, even though we've won it since.
Good on them.
Oh, they could wear the Captain Morgan trophy shirt.
They could. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
But that's
Brilliant.
what I downloaded.
Proper great minds, us two, aren't we?
Well, I'm not entirely sure about great, but yeah.
Oh, well. Right then, predictions. After we've done all that, Warrington by 16.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the game. The amount of stuff I see about Peter Matautia. Peter Matautia, man of the match with a hat-trick. Warrington by 16. Warrington to beat us to 0. That's exactly what'll happen now. Seriously, if we get a big start against them, we start quickly. Again, my mate thinks that they are light in the forwards. Lay down a platform, we win it at a counter. He's not hopeful. I think it might be a little bit tighter, but I still think we win the game.
Yeah, and we can all wave at Darryl in the box.
Should have drawn a thingy on my hand like David Blaine.
Yeah,
an eye.
Did you like me David Blaine picture of him?
Yes.
I think that went over far too many heads.
Yeah.
We're getting old. Right, I'll go Saints by 20.
I was going to say 18, actually.
Right then. Kevin, enjoy your walk. Take some plasters for your heels.
I'm not walking in stilettos, not after last time.
Sun cream for your bonts.
I'm
sure out of 70 people, you will find someone to talk to.
Yeah, definitely.
They should make you all wear like tourist caps, so you'd all stick together.
Yeah, just someone with a
sign. Warrington this way.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. Shazam. I got bored. I can't wait to be doing this after the game, after we've been beaten in a tight one going up. Well. Right,
Kev. Which of us is sharing this to the Warrington Wolves fans page?
You.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will catch you on Friday night after another beautiful trip to our Warrington favourites. Catch you soon.